Welcome back to Chicago, Illinois. Once again, Wilson Sporting Goods has sent out a call to all innovators, inventors, dreamers, and designers in search of golf's next great driver. Out of hundreds of submissions, 16 designers have been invited here to Wilson's brand new headquarters in the heart of the Windy City. These designers will be put to the test and will work hand in hand with Wilson engineers in pursuit of $250,000 in prize money, and most importantly, having his or her driver hit the market this November. Their fate will lie in the hands of these three judges: hockey legend and self-proclaimed golf addict, Jeremy Roenick; independent equipment expert and social media influencer, Rick Shields; and the president of Wilson Golf, Tim Clark. The competition to design golf's next great driver begins now.
Process, progress, and innovation are words used quite frequently by the team at Wilson Sporting Goods. So it should come as no surprise the progress they saw in driver submissions for Season 2 made the process of narrowing down the designs to a final group a difficult one.
I designed a driver that I will put confidence back in every single drive.
It was with that innovative spirit, Wilson determined 14 driver designs from across the country lucky enough to earn an invitation to their headquarters in Chicago.
Booyah! It is 5 a.m. Gonna catch my flight at 6.
I think we missed our shuttle.
Oh crap, there'll be another one.
All right, maybe 5 more minutes.
The first three of our finalists make a living as industrial designers. A 27-year-old from San Diego, California, a 50-year-old husband and father who resides in New York City, and from Long Beach, California, a semifinalist from last season, returning for redemption.
This time around, I'm just extremely focused. I know what I have to do. I know what I have to say in order to win.
Other finalists include a pair of bowling industry veterans from Utah, who are here to bring a fresh perspective to golf design. An 81-year-old product designer from Big Spring, Texas. An entrepreneur from Carlsbad, California.
It's an honor to be picked to come this far, but I'm here to win, so I'm ready to go.
A director of engineering from Naples, Florida, who holds over 40 product patents in the medical field. A 48-year-old from Chardon, Ohio, who has conceptualized and developed over 30 different creations.
I've been preparing for this for 20 years. This is the pinnacle moment.
And a mechanical engineer from Madison, Wisconsin, boasting a design that's out of this world. Two finalists are here representing their college. One, a 21-year-old senior at Oregon State University, studying mechanical engineering.
To win this competition would be a great, launching board into hopefully a career in golf club engineering.
The other, a 22-year-old pre-med student studying physiology at the University of Arizona. Rounding out our last three finalists is a professional poker player who has gone all in on this competition, a graphic designer and golf coach duo from South Florida, and finally, a 31-year-old structural engineer from Denver, Colorado, who took his love of engineering and golf to create a truly innovative design. All 14 teams arrive in Chicago with just one chance to pitch their ideas to the judges, who will ultimately make or break their designs.
everybody doing? Good. Welcome to Driver versus Driver 2. Yeah, first of all, I want to congratulate you all. Out of hundreds of submissions, your 14 designs were chosen by the experts at Wilson for this show. That is a huge accomplishment. You should give yourselves a hand. So, that's the good news. Here's the bad news. Only 7 of your designs will make it on to the next round.
It's kind of on now, you know. I wasn't expecting, you know, the contestant field to get cut in half. I thought maybe it'd go from like 14 to 10. A little shocked by it. I think everybody was.
So look at the person across the table from you, or the person next to you. Odds are one of you won't be in Chicago very long.
Hearing that wasn't a great way to start the day. Everyone in the room was a little bit taken back.
Each of you will present your ideas to our judges. They're going to challenge you and put you to the test. So, be confident about your concepts and be ready to defend your designs. And most of all, keep your cool, because it can get pretty hot and uncomfortable under those lights. Okay? Best of luck to all of you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Oh boy, which one of us is gonna go? You kind of look at your competition and you think, I think I can get this guy, but you never know.
While 14 teams fight for 7 spots, they'll also be fighting for a Wilson W, an award held by each of the 3 judges. At any point in the entire competition, a judge may present this to a designer, giving them an automatic free pass to the next round. And the first contestant who will be looking to score the coveted Wilson W is Evan Hoffman, a 26-year-old product designer currently living in San Diego, California. The motivation behind Evan's driver design is inspired by his love of motorcycles.
Today, I'm here to tell you about the Wilson Staff Cortex. So I've designed a dual material head construction with an internal structure to put confidence back into your swing. When designing the driver, I draw a lot of inspiration from motorcycles. My passion came from my father. He's been on bikes since he was a child, and so they've always been in the family. When you design a motorcycle, you want it to look like it's going fast, even when it's sitting still. So I kind of took that philosophy and put it into my driver. The design starts with an exoskeleton frame, which is then used with carbon fiber to create a dual material head construction. I moved the weight to the outside of the club, kind of the skirt of the club, which gives you a greater moment of inertia, which means you'll get a more consistent, straight shot down the fairway. From there, I added 2 adjustable weights, one to adjust the loft of your swing, and the other weight, it goes around the skirt as well to adjust your ball spin for your fades and your draws. Now, along with that, I added 2 turbulence strips on the top of the crown in order to increase your speed. As the airflow goes over the crown, the air sticks. It goes over the turbulence stripes and the air sticks to the crown, making it a more aerodynamic club. And this is the Wilson Cortex.
So with all those pieces that are connected into this driver head and the size of it, what is going to be the sound of the ball coming off of that? Because obviously that sound has got to feel good and sound good.
It would be a different sound with your traditional.
Different sound how? I don't like that. I don't like that word, different sound.
Different sound is dangerous.
It'll sound stronger.
Sounds stronger.
It'll sound like rather than an aluminum bat, a wood bat.
This is the stuff that actually worries me, you know? Because I look at this structure, I think of a tour player. Tour players swinging somewhere around 127 to 130 miles per hour. What have you done on the structure to make sure we're not going to have things just fall into pieces on that tee box?
I haven't ran any simulations on it. But for the most part, what I was thinking is, as you can see, the 45-degree structure, I want to kind of ground it to the actual frame.
When I look at this, a lot of the weight's up in the top of this club.
Yeah.
My question is that center of gravity, how high is that going to be in this model?
The skirt, actually, when you look at it from profile, it really jets down to the bottom. And then combining that with the adjustable loft weight will be the main center of gravity.
Yeah, I think if you shape that head and had the bottom quite flat to the ground, that would eliminate that, and that would help with the flow across the top.
Yeah, and the crown's all carbon fiber.
Yeah.
So
that's what you see, the material, carbon fiber on top.
Yeah, the inserts would all be carbon fiber, and the structure along with the head construction would be titanium.
The more I think about it, the more your technology is, there's half of it that's visible with the weight tracking systems, which we've seen before in drivers, and half of it is hidden under the bonnet, under the shell, and I don't get how you can tell that story as well as you could do with the weight. And that's going to be the trickiest part, but that's down to marketing and good storytelling. Honestly, Evan, awesome presentation. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck moving forward.
Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
I personally think we'll have some pieces flying off, but from a design ideation, I think he's onto something. I just don't know if it's a makeable product at a reasonable price today.
Tim had a few reservations about my design, and I believe they were well-deserved, but I believe my structure and my exoskeleton frame will hold up under the pressure of the design and the impact testing and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, for you, Rick, I mean, you test so many of these things, and I think both of you guys, when you have so many different pieces and so many different elements of it, all those things have to be so coincided perfectly in order for that sound and that performance to come off right. If one thing is out of place, that becomes tough. But I think if he does move on to the next round, I think, you know, he's going to need some help.
Definitely.
Tweaking some of these elements.
But a well put together idea.
Sure.
I think there's a lot here. It's just there's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah.
Maybe a few too many.
With the judges left wondering about the complexity of Evan's design, our next presenter follows up with a different take.
Hi, guys.
How you doing?
Hey.
Welcome.
My name is Alan Zayday. I'm an industrial designer from Brooklyn, New York. I run a small design firm in Brooklyn. We design consumer electronics, houseware products, and sports equipment, and vehicles. I've been designing for past 20 years. I got my inspiration from designing watches, looking at these beautiful timepieces that are perfectly designed to deliver accurate time consistently.
The core idea behind Alan's watch-inspired design is precision and customization, with the soul of the club featuring 3 unique options to dial in your driver and maximize performance.
On the left here, the first one, we have adjustability along the base track, which gives you 180-degree adjustability. On the second, we have adjustability along the active arm, which is almost like a watch handle, which gives you a low and a high adjustability. And also the active arm rotation adjustability, which, again, along the base track, you can actually rotate the arm. Of course, once they're all locked up, everything will be very solid and it will be a very concise product.
When I'm looking at this driver, the first thing that came to my mind is clean, sharp, good lines, and simplicity. When you're creating this driver, are you more looking for its simplicity or of its curb appeal by looking at it?
Definitely both of those are always considered.
Which one is more important, the simplicity or the curb appeal of its look?
I think simplicity, definitely. I think it's really important that at a point of purchase, you want customers to look at it and understand what the innovation is about.
That's a great point.
And how it's relevant to their life and how it's going to improve their game.
Alan, this really does excite me. This concept, this idea is so creative. And I think from a consumer standpoint, this would be very easy to work around. Like, this feels actually quite, just from the prototype, quite easy to understand where fade's gonna be, where draw's gonna be, where you can move that weight to the most extremes, and where you can even move that weight of center of gravity forward and back. Really good. What's your background in golf, Alan?
I'm an amateur golfer. I don't really get to play a lot, as you know, I live in New York.
Okay.
That sums it up.
I mean, just beautiful, really good.
I do think, now I know everyone's in love with this one right now, but I do think there are some concerns. When you go into a shop and you set it on the ground, when you have these types of parts, my worry is, it's gonna, in one position, it's gonna flap open, another position, it's gonna flap closed. If it does one of those two things, the next place it's going isn't the register. It's going right back into the rack. So I think you have work to do.
Yeah.
He put a lot of thought into the simplicity of the design, the usability of his design, and for the common golfer to be able to find the right setting. Really, really sharp.
Physically, that's my favorite. Visibly, I prefer that.
Too bad JR gave it.
Hey, I got the first one. Sorry, I got tips. I think it's beautiful too.
The next designer to present their idea is Peter Dreyfuss, a director of engineering from Naples, Florida, who currently holds 42 patents, all revolving around methods used to simplify orthopedic surgeries. Peter brings this same philosophy of simplicity to this competition with a driver concept that he hopes will challenge conventional designs.
Hi, Peter.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. Well, you said you wanted to create a driver for all ages. Why is that so important to you?
I'm out there with the average people doing my best and not always succeeding. And I really like the thought of trying to help every man and try to have it develop a club that allows everybody to be more consistent, which is what I'm always trying to do.
So every skill set, sure. Yes. Okay, well, good luck, Peter. How about it?
Hello.
Hello, Peter.
How are you doing? My name is Peter Dreyfuss from Naples, Florida, and I'm here to tell you about my driver concept. My design is unique. It looks novel. It looks like nothing you've seen before in a driver. The top of the club, from the golfer's perspective, will look fairly normal, but clean. No slides or crazy features on it. But when you look at it from other angles, you'll see this giant cavity back. This cavity back allows the back face behind the ball to have corrector weights added, hopefully by magnetized, a little weight that can be added and taken away without any special tools required. This weight is right behind the hitting face of the club, of the ball, and therefore it doesn't interfere with the twisting of the club face. Its center of gravity or center of rotation is a natural movement. The weight can be distributed over a large area, over a smaller area, and it can also be distributed asymmetrically, if you will, to add draw or fade to the ball. And lastly, the club head can be sculpted to be appealing from the top or the sides.
Peter, could I get a look at the model, please?
You bet.
Prototype. Thank you. You know, the square concept of shape has been out there for many years, right?
Yeah.
So I think you got some uniqueness here. What intrigued me was about the ability to have a filled face and what possibly could be done with that. And that, to me, that's kind of the nugget of an idea that has some merit. But I think we got a lot of work on this one.
Well, for me, I have a bunch of negatives, and you seem like a great guy, so don't take my negativity personally. But when I look down at this, I don't know about you, but it looks like a cowbell. If I look down, it looks like a cowbell, and you put a shaft into a cowbell. For one, that's if you can change the shape of it would be one thing. But I think my question, mainly is, how much thought did you really put into this? Because I don't want to be that guy that walks up onto a tee box with all my buddies, and they all laugh at me because I'm playing something that looked like I just got it off an infomercial. Because if you flip this over, it's a putter upside down with a shaft in it. So how much thought went into the aesthetics and the looks of this?
Sometimes these ideas, they're not born out of 10 years of sweating and trying to think of something. Sometimes they come to you, the proverbial light bulb coming on. So when the topic came around to designing a new driver, I sat there and I said, well, you know, there's been about 1 million drivers designed. What could you different? And I really, in a very short amount of time, looked at my insulated cup, turned it on its side, and said, well, it's got a flat face there, and it's hollow, so maybe there's something we can do with the hollow. And I looked and I thought, wow, you can reach right behind where the ball hits. If you could put something there, that'd be where you would want the weight, because you don't want the weight on the corners and influencing your swing. I want the weight right where the club or where the ball is hitting the club.
And if you were to fill it, would you fill the full face in behind here? What's your thoughts around that?
That face behind there inside of the cup is magnetized. In my ideal, you'd have different weights that you'd just be able to pop in there and they would stick well.
Yeah.
And they'd be interchangeable.
I think that's going to be a real problem. With weights that are not fixed,
right,
you're going to have real issues with the USPJ with that. They need to be fixed. They can't be moving around. Because if you had that hitting the golf shot 110 miles per hour, whatever it's going to be, and those magnets aren't sticking, they're just not going to pass regulations.
Like JR said, this is on such an extreme design. The rest of this needs just a ton of work.
They weren't missing the ball on their critiques. They were right, but they were saying things that I was trying to explain the wrong way.
After 3 presentations already in the books and the Wilson W still in play, our next group of designers will be looking to impress the judges and secure their spot in the next round.
Hello, judges. My name is Tim Swiss. I'm an industrial designer from Carlsbad, California. I have a wife, 2 kids, and a dog, and my life can be pretty hectic most of the time, so I really try to simplify things as much as I can.
Tim's driver design is called the Widowmaker and is named for its uniquely shaped weighting system on the sole of the driver, reminiscent of the Black Widow Spider. It features an adjustable weighted arm on the sole of the club, which pivots on a central ball mount, allowing a golfer to rotate the weight for a draw or fade bias. The arm can also turn 180 degrees toward the back of the club to adjust for higher or lower penetrating shots. And finally, on the crown of the driver, the Widowmaker includes a uniquely designed surface to help aid a golfer's alignment at address.
By the way, the shape of this club is spectacular. If I'm
awesome.
looking
Thank
at it
you.
from the bottom, it's that traditional look, I think, Rick, that really intrigues me about the setup.
What I love about it is that the simplicity, like JR's picked up on, is something I'm a huge fan of. The backup of that, though, I feel like it doesn't potentially give all the options. What's your thoughts around that? Because we can only go forward, back,
right,
side to side.
Correct.
We can't do both. Would a future plan be maybe 2 of these sliding bars?
It's certainly possible. I mean, I had considered that initially. I really tried to focus on that simplicity aspect and really try to minimize the part count for being able to make this as manufacturable as possible.
Obviously, visual cue for anybody coming in to buy a golf club is probably to get it off the rack. Visual cue's the first thing, right? They may see it from the undersole sit, the way it's merchandised. I love, you got a lot going on here. Then you flip it over, and you got all this stuff hanging out. When you set that, and most people, when they set up a driver in a store, at a shop, or a pro shop,
it's a hard surface.
They set it on a hard surface.
Right.
My worry is, you know, and the one thing that always happens if a driver flops open or a driver flops closed when you set it down.
Great point.
Put it back in the rack.
It's a great point.
Yeah.
Following up Tim Swiss's unique design comes 27-year-old J.D. Heffron, a professional poker player and avid golfer who has drawn new inspiration from an old idea. The main concept behind JD's idea is to bring a square-shaped driver back to the market, but this time with new aerodynamic properties.
I have crown louvers on the top, promoting downforce and increased stability, along with the shape of the driver.
It also features a multi-weight interchangeable trajectory meter, allowing a golfer to alter the amount of spin and trajectory they can put on the ball.
I want a club that's going to make me hit this in the fairway. If you can tell me right now that I'm going to hit more fairways with that, I'm all in, I'm buying.
Unlike you, JR, I'm not all in with this idea at all. I just see, you know, we're looking for futuristic designs. We're looking for something brand new, and this just doesn't feel new. It feels like we've seen it before. It feels like we've seen square drivers before.
Does that scare you? Does that scare you with the look that didn't work 10 years ago? Does that scare you?
JR, yeah, I mean, you could probably say that the square driver was the biggest train wreck that the industry as a whole took on.
I think there's a quiet following for them out in the market.
Small market doesn't bode well when you're trying to sell clubs, does it?
Yeah, we're really not trying to niche ourselves in that small of a spot right now. But a question for you on the shape. Why is this shape so much better than a traditional?
I think it's all about confidence.
Confidence.
Yeah. You're not worrying about side spin going right or left. The only thing you're going to worry about is the trajectory and the amount of spin you're going to put on the ball flight.
I just think you've got some challenges around the shape.
Sure.
If that can be overcome, I think there's really some good possibilities.
Yeah, cosmetically, we can always work with something.
I think if you lose the cosmetics, you lose your whole concept of your design here. cosmetics on this being square. That's your whole design.
Right, right.
With JD leaving the judges unsure about his creation. Our next idea comes from Jimmy Quinn, a familiar face during season 1 of Driver vs. Driver, and someone who has absolutely no doubts about his Magnus 2.0 design.
Hello, judges.
Hey, Jimmy.
Jimmy, how you doing?
Doing well. Thank
Feeling confident?
you. Super confident.
The main feature behind this driver is a tri-lock inline weight system located on the bottom of the club, which a golfer can adjust between 3 different positions to calibrate the driver to their game. The crown mimics the hood of a race car, designed to reduce drag and allow for faster club head speeds, equating to further distances off the tee.
Jimmy, first of all, welcome back. The design looks great. I'm interested to see how that top looks. Can you explain, are there individual weights that move? Is there one system? What do you have in the weight aspect of this club?
So there's 3 weights.
3 weights.
2 of them are the same. They're lighter weights. And
Okay.
one of them is a heavy one. And that heavy one is doing the majority of the work.
Movement.
So what you want to do is move it in any 3 of these positions. If you move it towards the rear, that's going to give you a high launching, low spinning ball.
Right.
Move it towards the front, it's going to give you more of a distance shot. If you move it more towards the middle, you know, you want something a little bit in between, you have it there too.
They don't seem very wide, the rails. Is there plans to make these wider? It doesn't seem like it's going to move the weight substantially towards the toe of the heel here. I understand the front to the back, but these weights move side to side, right?
No, they do not. It's only face to heel.
Ah.
Or front to back.
So why rails? Why would you not have them just as ports? That seems like an unnecessary...
Because that is exactly how every other driver does it out in the market. And it's a bad solution, it looks bad, and I made it to the next level. It looks absolutely beautiful. You guys take a look at this driver. I know you're gonna guys wanna swing this driver the minute you guys see it.
Our next contestant is 42-year-old Jeremy Chell, a mechanical engineer responsible for designing life support components for spaceflight vehicles that travel to and from the International Space Station.
Many elements of aerospace technology have found their way into my design. In spaceflight hardware, the technology experiences harsh environmental conditions with respect to shock and vibrations. So what I've learned in isolating structures from vibration, I've been able to apply into the launchpad driver concept.
Hi. Hey, welcome,
Jeremy.
How we doing?
Good.
You look a little nervous up there. You okay?
You nervous?
Of course.
I will tell you this, none of us bite hard. So don't worry about it. Just go do your thing. What do you
All
got?
right.
Tell us what you got.
All right. Well, I'm Jeremy Chell from Kenosha, Wisconsin. I'm going to go over my design concept for you, the Launchpad driver. So this design optimizes the dynamics of impact across the entire club face. Center strikes launch with more speed due to, speed due to, okay. Well, center strikes launch
Just smash it. Go for it.
okay. The most apparent detail that differentiates it from the other clubs in the market is the fact that the crown plate is removable and incorporates a tension fit design approach that enables the golfer to remove the crown to precisely adjust the center of gravity location, and along with some adjustability to the acoustics of the club.
For a golf geek, that is fascinating to see what is inside a driver and to have that access.
That's actually a good aspect, right? Take it out and see what's
I'd
underneath,
love
see
that.
what you can do. That,
yeah,
that's-
I mean, that whole idea, as long as you don't keep things in there, don't keep
Yeah,
ball
right.
marker and stuff in there. So when you take that hood off, are you saying that you can then put weight in there and distribute it around?
Right, so that would give, I know on tour, golfers have access to these tour vans and where they could load the club head up with hot melt, rat glue and so forth. So this would give the regular consumer access to the inside of the club to put, they could put their own hot melt or lead tape precisely located wherever they want.
Hey, here, come take this, Jeremy. I think it's fantastic. I thought it was
great work. Very,
idea.
very well thought out design, Jeremy.
Great
Good,
design,
well
Jeremy.
thought out. Well thought out.
Presentation needs some work, but
Yeah.
great design.
Hey, see, it didn't hurt, did it?
There we go.
That didn't hurt.
I think I only made it 10 seconds to the elevator pitch
Jeremy,
there.
thanks so much for your time.
You got through it, and you have a
you.
great idea. I think there's a lot of things that you can add to it. But the nuts and bolts of it are really good. So
Thank you. I didn't do myself any favors with the presentation. I forgot what I was going to say, and I put too much technical jargon in it, and it was too complicated, and it really didn't work for me at all. But at least after seeing all the other designs, I still had full confidence in what I had come up with.
he had a pretty good design. He had a club that I think has potential. It's not about the presentation that wins these contests, it's about the product. He's got a good product, but he's got to be able to expand on his creation. It was interesting to me, but I'm really, really wary of having a loose impediment that is screwed on.
I don't know how he attaches it, if I'm honest.
Well, I understand how he has the hood to drive under. So it's a drive under, then lock down. But still, wear and tear. Hit after hit after hit after hit. I like the fact that he thought about that. He thought about the ways of securing, because that becomes...
That's critical.
Yeah. It's amazing how brilliance has a lack of words sometimes.
Right.
Because he was brilliant.
He was.
It's great.
Hey, Melanie.
Hi, Chris.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
How you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. Excited to be here, ready to give my presentation.
Yeah, well, we know you're a good golfer, so how do you think that's gonna help you out here?
I feel like, being a good player, along with my engineering background, kind of, fits well with this competition. I'm hoping I can kind of merge my two skills and come up with a design that Wilson likes and hopefully advance the competition.
Hoping to have better luck with his presentation is 32-year-old Chris Adams, a structural engineer from Denver, Colorado. The main feature of Chris's design is to add a stiffening ring to the inside of the driver near the face of the club.
And what this stiffening ring does is that it restricts the separation of the top and bottom surface. Therefore, you get a better energy transfer into the ball, which results in more ball speed, which then gives you more carry distance.
The design also features a weight adjustment system on the sole of the club, which will allow for a draw and fade bias, along with an option to move the weight forward or backwards to manipulate the center of gravity.
So these weights go from the front to the back and then side to side.
Exactly.
This looks familiar.
Yeah, and
I've seen this before. I test a lot of products.
Yeah,
a lot of products
absolutely.
from different manufacturers, and this certainly looks very familiar.
Right, yeah, there's a lot of ways you can accomplish moving center of gravity and moments of inertia. And that's initially what I've sketched up, but there's certainly different ideas that you can use to get the adjustability that you want.
With your background in structural engineering, I am very curious about the stiffening ring. We've had some conversations around this in some of our prototyping. That's an internal guts piece. So when you go to market it to consumers, how do you get that across?
I think you need to push the engineering behind it. Granted, you won't be able to see it when you put it down on the ground, but if you create some kind of marketing material showing what's inside, I think that's what's going to get people excited.
You walk in the shop, you got this driver. If the system on the bottom of it is something that everybody's seen, and the real technology is hidden underneath, I think that's going to be a hard sell.
Chris, I think you've got some incredible ideas here, and I think if you can get the message across about the technology, I think this could be a really good selling point.
Great. I kind of felt iffy about, how my presentation went. And I don't make products, I'm a structural engineer, I do buildings. I think it's 50-50. I think there's some other designs in the room that are very good, and you never know what the judges are looking for.
The next team hoping to get their message across comes from Juan and Walter Lund, a graphic designer and golf coach from Miramar, Florida, who combine their expertise to create what they believe will be the most adjustable driver on the market. Their design, called Black Hornet, has 3 key components. The first is an innovative airflow technology coupled with a small spoiler on the backside of the crown.
The main purpose of the airflow technology is bringing stability to the club face, bringing the lower center of gravity back, avoiding the twist from the head, and reduce the drag.
The second features variable weight technology, including 5 different weight ports on the bottom of the club to allow for maximum adjustability. And lastly, the Black Hornet contains a hosel adjustment feature that allows a golfer to lengthen the driver shaft up to 1 inch.
So what is the reasoning for that extra little tail at the back where most traditional ones cut off that tail?
It's a kind of a spoiler or protuberance. So the idea is to channel the air through the air intake in the top against the spoiler in the back.
Question. Have you guys done any research on USGA RNA rules?
Yeah, the Appendix 2 of the USGA rules.
I know, 1, they don't like fins. 2, they don't like appendages.
Yeah, it's not an appendage, it's like part of the...
Well, I can tell you, if they think it's an appendage, it's an appendage. So the shaft adjustability, if it's an adjustable shaft anyway, and you want to go 1 inch long, you just order it the inch long. I guess quite honestly, I don't get the feature.
What's making this driver any better? Is it going to make us hit the ball further? Is that the big thing with this driver?
Yeah, it's to get more control. It's that idea, because we're trying to make a driver that will fit every type of player.
You talked about control. Control scares the heck out of me. I know a lot of players on the PGA Tour who hit 14 of 14 fairways every week and usually don't have a chance to win. So control with distance, now I'm interested. Now we can talk about something.
Someone who believes they have an idea that will certainly pique the judge's interest is 81-year-old product designer Bob Lockhart, who boasts a design just as eye-catching as its name.
The no sex part is because all of the club heads that I've seen have lots of sex. They have 460 cc's if they possibly can, and they've got rounded faces, and they're very, very voluptuous. And so I want to take all that out and make a club that is made for hitting balls.
Interesting. I got to ask you, the no sex part totally throws me for a loop. I don't know about that, but I don't know if a lot of guys want to see the no sex. Maybe a stronger shaft in that club might fix that problem. I'm just throwing some stuff out there.
This actually would really be more of a driver, though, right? The model. What you're demonstrating here is the simplicity of the adjustment of the hosel location into the head. That's what you're showing us.
That's a part.
So Bob, since you're not having any sex anymore, are you playing lots of golf still?
Hey, who said he's not? Just because
I'm reading into the name.
I regret the lack of golf more than I do the sex stuff.
If you could choose golf all day.
Hoping to keep the judges in a good mood is our next team to present, Hank Boomershine and Victor Marion.
Hey, guys.
Hi, guys. I'm Hank Boomershine.
I'm Victor Marion.
We're the bowling ball guys, and we use a lot of the technology from bowling to help us create the design that we brought to you today.
Hank and Victor both reside in Perry, Utah, and are looking to make their mark in the golf world.
Victor and we both work here at Storm Products. I'm the Vice President of Sales and R&D, and Victor is the Director of Research and Development. We work as a great team in designing bowling balls, and we've designed some of the best in the industry over the last several years. I'll come up with a design, and then I go to Victor and say, Vic, let's put it together and let's put it in a CAD program. And he's like, hey, I like that idea. Let's run with it. He has a tremendous amount of knowledge and skill set, and he's really good with the CAD programs and drawing and taking those ideas that are kind of in our heads and off pieces of paper and making them reality.
So the idea we have is by creating a unique undercut, it creates a temporary vortex. So once the vortex is established, it redirects air under the base of the club through a channel we've created.
On the inside of this channel is a movable fin, which will allow a player to manipulate the flow of air to either keep the face more open or closed at the time of impact. Similar to a weight block in the core of a bowling ball, This channel and blade system is designed to create a stabilizing effect at the point of impact.
So we have aerodynamics helping us, but we can also manipulate the CG as well based on the weighting of said blade. So it's a 2-for-1 gain.
Guys, great presentation, by the way, and congratulations for thinking so far outside the box. I mean, this is really,
outside the box. Outside the box.
Outside the box.
The fit.
They're out of this
They're off
atmosphere.
the planet.
Literally.
They're off the
literally
planet
out
on
of
this one, Rick.
atmosphere.
The blade.
Yes.
So the blade, the central fin that's got to be covered because you can't have the fin exposed.
Sure.
That's what you're saying. But that blade is going to be always stable, or it's going to be constantly moving.
No,
fixed.
It'll be a fixed blade.
Of course,
yeah.
right.
So that when you rotate the blade towards the toe, that means the air wants to close and the toe wants to close. You're trying to redirect the air traveling under, and especially as you get closer to the ground.
That airflow, that vortex that's going to be created in that well underneath, that's surely got to only be created at the very last moment. Because that can't be being created on the downswing, surely.
To a certain extent, it increases. It has to increase as it gets closer and you get more pressure.
How is this going to handle, like, the dirt, grass? Is this, I mean, can this thing clog up?
Well, ideally, at the very center of it would be a bolt that you release, and that's how you change the fin alignment. That's how you change any placement of titanium discs on the backside. So you could actually take it at the whole end of your round, take it apart and actually clean the whole thing easily and reassemble it or tweak it.
I don't know how many golfers want to take their stuff apart. JR,
Sure.
I
done.
JR, at the end of the round, are you
When I'm done, I'm going to get a Coors Light and I'm going to the bar. I'm not cleaning off my
So yeah, you put that driver cover on and you leave. Yep.
Guys, you can get your prototypes here. Thanks for the presentation. Very interesting. I think there's a lot of work to be done on it, but it's an interesting start.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Guys, appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you. So we took a little bit of flack on whether or not it would get dirt in it, but overwhelmingly, we presented something that was super unique and the judges saw that. So I feel pretty good about it just because we did provide something that no one else has really seen or done.
I think you got two things. One, the period of time that air can actually be created is tiny.
But that's what I was
to be able to make that
talking
speed,
about. The strength.
and then are you going to get enough airflow in
the bottom of a club
for a tiny little blade to make a difference?
Because the only time the airflow comes is when you get close to the ground where it creates the pressure.
Correct. Also, when you're putting something like this out in the market first, you're taking a big risk. Wondering if that technology is actually going to work.
They definitely are very clever guys.
Yes, very
clever. So, you know, who knows where it'll go, but...
By the way, if it works, just think about how much simpler it will be to be making clubs rather than figuring out how to move all these different weights.
Yeah,
Just
I
let
just
the air
can't.
just dictate
I just can't see it. I'd love to be proven wrong, but at the moment I can't see that working.
The search for Wilson's next groundbreaking driver continues. And our next idea comes from 22-year-old Samantha Smith from Tucson, Arizona.
I'm a student at the University of Arizona. I am studying physiology with a minor in public health. My ultimate career goal is to conduct research and help those who suffer from Alzheimer's and dementia.
Samantha's aspirations stem from the tragic loss of her grandfather after a long battle against dementia, and looks at this obstacle as an opportunity to help others facing a similar situation.
It was heartbreaking to kind of go through something like that, and it hurts and it kind of sucks that you can't do anything to help them. And seeing the entire process from the family side of it makes me really want to help study and find a cure.
As someone who functioned as the foundation of the family, Samantha's grandfather initially inspired her father and siblings to pick up the game of golf. It was a hobby that ultimately turned into a passion.
Once I started high school here in Tucson, I played 4 years on the golf team, and I was the only girl for the first 3 years. It was definitely a good experience because I would go up to the tee box up against other guys from other teams, and they're like, oh, there's a girl playing, like, we'll be able to beat her, but then I would end up out driving them and kind of blowing them out the water, so it was fun. The 3 things that I was looking for, and it's what I look for as a golfer, is a driver that looks good, sounds good, and feels good. Now, the innovation that I'm bringing into my club is the weight rods that are heavier on one end, lighter on the other, in order to allow players to adjust how they need to through the crown of the club. Coming in through the crown, these side weights allow for you to adjust the fade and draw biases, where the central weight on the bottom is gonna allow for you to adjust your spin. And also, with putting these in on the crown, it's gonna kind of integrate some aerodynamics into the club because we have it completely smooth on the bottom. So you're not gonna be having anything roughed up on the bottom whenever you're swinging down. The next piece on my crown is a very aggressive look, and it's gonna be with contrasting tones to help golfers better align themselves at address.
Have a look at that.
Yeah, of course.
Prototype, Samantha. Thanks so much.
So there's a little bit of moving parts in here. They kind of come out so
Okay,
you can see.
brilliant. Thanks so much. First off, fantastic presentation.
Thank
Samantha.
you.
I thought it was so good, so well put together. I mean, this is a unique concept, a unique idea with the weights going in the top. What material is this crown going to be made out of to allow the weights to go in? Because normally the crown's quite a lightweight material.
I was thinking of a carbon material because I know that's a little bit lighter weight, and if we're putting those weights in there, in order to keep it USGA conforming, we have to lighten up the club elsewhere in order to put those weight rods in.
When I look at this, number one is when you think about how a driver is actually merchandising a golf shop, it's sitting like this. So my first concern is, you know, when you walk by.
Great point.
It's going to be really hard without anything on the bottom to really make it look
That's true.
appealing
Right.
where you pick it up. Then my second concern is you pick it up and you flip it over, and I don't know how this will work, but just the way I see this engineered so far is you're gonna have a lot of activity on the top of this crown. And I can tell you, we've done a lot of prototyping over the years.
Right.
A lot of activity on the top of a crown for a better player is the kiss of death.
Well, I will say this. I think what she did explain helps a little bit in that, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I get caught in that same position that you were talking about. That sometimes late in the round, you know, you're getting a little tired. You know, you're trying to stay focused.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll cheat the setup,
Right.
Because you're looking at things. And I can see how maybe some of these things would take away from your eyes, but I like that color contrast, where you're taking that little different color in the face to make sure that that's kind of your reminder. Okay, let's not look at this. Let's focus on where that club face is.
Samantha, you can take your prototype back. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would say there's absolutely no way to put that in a carbon crown.
You couldn't do it.
It would crack.
It would crack it.
It would just break. There's no chance. So you really got to, I mean, honestly, I think that one is interesting. I think there's some nuggets ideas. I think it needs a complete rethought.
But again, when you have good ideas that can be rearranged and stuff like that.
That's it.
And that's the thing. You try. At the end of the day, the show's about finding a kernel of an idea. And then working with the Wilson Labs teams to take it into a world-class performing product.
Presenting next is Tim Slama, a mechanical engineering student attending Oregon State University.
For my whole life, I've wanted to be a golf club engineer and design golf clubs and work on that. So I'm studying mechanical engineering for that reason.
Tim hopes combining his love of golf with his field of study will give him the advantage he needs to design a revolutionary new driver.
I want to be behind the scenes. I want to work to constantly be creating the newest technologies in the golf world.
I'm super excited to present to you Wilson's next driver, the Wilson Staff Roswell. This is a driver that will truly take your game out of this world. The driver features 3 extraterrestrial technologies, which together will help your ball to go further, faster, and more forgiving. So the first of those 3 technologies is the Infinitrack weighting system. The Infinitrack weighting system can be seen here on the sole of the club. And what it is it challenges the conventional straight track design.
It is going to be a infinity-shaped symbol that spans the sole of the club. So that allows you to move the center of gravity from forward to backwards, and then it also allows you to increase the moment of inertia by moving the weights out and also create a draw and fade bias all on the same track.
The next major technology is the rumble ridges. So along the flat portions of the club, these rumble ridges will reduce the laminar flow of the air across the club and thus increase swing speeds for golfers of all ability levels and make you swing it faster, resulting in further drives. And then finally, we have the trabecular technology in this driver, which will use a variety of bio-inspired algorithms which are based on human bone growth to create a lighter crown that has an organic structure, but also maintains that same strength. I'm super excited to take any questions, and I have a couple early stage prototypes here that I'd love to share with you guys.
You're super excited. I'm feeling super dumb right now to tell you the truth. Super stupid. I mean, you've used words that I didn't even think were even in the dictionary.
You're not the only one feeling dumb at the moment, because I am just saying some of the words you're using then were mind-blowing. Tim, that was a fantastic presentation. Let me start that off with. Love the concept, love the idea. So many unique and new features that I've not seen on a driver before.
Yeah, thanks.
Honest, which is something really exciting. And believe me, I've tested a lot of drivers, and this is something really new and exciting.
Question for you.
Yeah.
Trabecular, I've never heard that.
Sure.
And I know that you just tried to explain it a little bit in your biology terms.
Sure.
How does trabecular in biology terms transfer to technology terms in the form of a driver? What does it do on top? That's my first question.
The trabecular technology is based off of your own bones, right? So inside your bones, when you were playing hockey, when you were doing whatever, the internal structure of your bones is a direct result of the external forces that are acted upon it, right? So your bone takes in the external forces that are acting upon it and determines the internal structure that will create lighter bones that can still withstand the same forces and the same sort of pressure and daily work that you were putting on it as a professional athlete. And so that's different for everyone. And they have that internal structure is an organic but lighter, and it creates the same strength. And so what that allows us to do on the top of it is use that as inspiration for the crown of the club to make the crown of the club lighter than ever before and lower that center of gravity.
When I look at this, and you're talking about actually affecting moment of inertia.
Sure.
In the testing that we have done and have seen, my question is, do you really think that we have a wide enough space here? Most of moment of inertia change is on perimeter.
Sure.
Are we actually just giving a marketing story on this, or is this really going to benefit?
I think that the marketing of it is great. However, I do think that it mainly controls the center of gravity, just making that center infinity symbol a little wider. We could influence the moment of inertia more.
I would love to test it.
But I don't think you're going to change it.
No, I almost think turning the 8 the other way around, or like what you mentioned, Tim, going
I like that.
Wider.
Well,
big fan of that.
I think there's work to be done here. I think it was a great presentation.
Thank you.
I just think some of the answers...
I don't think there's work to be done. That was one of the best performances by a 20-year-old, giving some of the most unbelievable words and description of a design that I've ever seen. So I'm going to give you the Wilson W right here. I'm going to move you into the next round.
Yes.
Hey, I think,
man, thank you so much.
I think your brain and your smarts, you can be so good for the golfing world. Even though that has a couple of flaws with your brain, I think you can change the golfing world. I'm moving you on to the next round.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Good. Well done.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys.
Congratulations.
Fantastic.
There you go, buddy.
Thanks. To have the stress off my shoulders, to have that weight lifted, and to be guaranteed to be one step closer to the end goal, it's great.
Nice. Way to go.
Yeah, JR gave me the W, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I guess they liked it.
That's great. I'm happy for the guy, but this is just round one. You know, this is the easy part.
Next up is Chardon, Ohio's Scott Hack. A chiropractor, inventor, and entrepreneur rolled into one, Hack is confident his vast experience will elevate his design to get the judges' attention.
Over the course of the last 17 to 18 years, I've come up with probably 25, 30 inventions. And I went to market with a couple of them. Came up with 2 golf products. The first one was a swing trainer and the putter. It was called the Mirror One. It was in the market for a brief time.
With his homemade prototype in hand, Scott is looking to leverage his experience and earn a spot in the next phase of development.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah, great. How are you? Really good.
your last name. It's probably not the best name for a golf designer. just saying.
Well, that's why I didn't name it the Hat Driver.
Yeah. Well done. All right.
Yeah.
You can continue now.
Have you ever heard someone say, I'm just hitting the ball way too far? Me neither. Yeah, no, it doesn't happen. No.
It would be a nice problem, though.
It would, yeah, right. The new downforce driver helps you locate the center of the club face with amazing accuracy, hitting the ball further with better control. So there's 3 very important and never before seen features in the downforce driver. The first one are speed channels located on the heel, the toe, and the sole of the club. The second are airfoil designs that are located just beneath the heel and the toe speed channels. Those airfoils are used as the club goes from open to closed in the downswing. It cuts through the air, sending high pressure below the club head and also low pressure at a high velocity through the club head. With downforce in your hands, you're igniting force at impact.
Wow, what a presentation. Can I have a look at this, Scott?
Sure.
If you don't mind. I feel like there's almost like a price tag at the end there, and buy now by calling this number.
Close this thing.
So it has a channel blocker in one side and an open channel on the other.
It had way too many functions on it. Way too many. Like 5 or 6, just way out of the box thinking. But for me, that's what prototypes are about. Prototypes are about packing as many ideas into it and then seeing what sticks. I've never seen a design like this. There's just a lot going on. There is a lot going on.
Listen, I feel like I'm gonna play a video game right now. Go on like it's a controller for a video game.
This guy threw everything but the kitchen sink in. Now, if I'm going into a store, I'm looking at it because it looks so ridiculous.
There is no way that I could put this in my bag for a lot of reasons. I'm sure it has a lot of great aspects to it. This thing is so big. This is gonna take up half my bag, number 1. And number 2, I think you put way too much thought into it. I need to have a college education to figure out all the different gadgets that this thing has.
I think it's really, there's a lot of ideas in this driver. It makes me think of Frankenstein, the movie, where, all these body parts are put on to make a man. It's got a lot going on here. I think there's some concepts of good ideas in here. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a simple question. Where's the product?
Yeah.
He had wings. He had weights. He had lineman aids. He had, I've never seen kind of a double a head and a head. I mean, it had everything. If we produced this as is, I think this would be the biggest closeout driver we've ever done at this stage. So,
It hurts me to hear you say that.
It's just too ahead of its time.
I get you.
At that point in time, I recognized that I'm on one side, not the other, that they're not ready for that futuristic of a design just yet. And I'm a little bit too far, or a lot too far, away from the traditional designs that they're looking for. I swung for the fences.
Wow. Whoa, that was, well, that had a lot going on, man.
You know what?
No, it didn't have a lot going on.
It had everything going on.
I think you could make 4 drivers out of the ideas from that.
No, there's no question about it. Listen, I love his confidence. I love what he's trying to do. The world's not ready for that. No, it is not ready.
Rick is. He's ready to test it in a private room. Rick's encouraging the action.
For me, that would be one of those clubs that would intrigue me so much. I would have to test it. If it worked, I'm running to the first tee. If it doesn't, I'm chucking it away.
I could not put that thing in my bag just by looks. Do you think that he could take what he has, shrink it up into a more traditional thing?
Yeah, I do. I do.
I don't think he'll be happy taking it down.
No, you're right.
I don't. It's my gut feel. But Hack might be a better name than I thought.
I'm hacking that right out of my bag.
After an unexpectedly long day of presentations, the designers went back to their hotel for a much-needed break. They will look to rest for the night as the judges and Wilson engineers deliberate and determine their fates.
I thought I did okay, but I really was impressed by some of the other ideas, and I feel for the judges. They're going to have a tough time picking.
With the criticism that they gave, and it was poignant and it was right on par with what they're looking for, I don't expect to be a part of the top 7.
very confident with what I presented, and I think that if I were to be eliminated, it wouldn't be a smart decision, I think, because my driver is honestly the best driver, and I really want to work with Wilson. It's not fun and games for me, like I really want to win it this time.
Unfortunately, as the evening went on, one designer didn't get the night of relaxation he was hoping for.
10-4, we got an inbound male, stomach and chest pains persisting over the last hour or so. Let's have a bed ready for him on arrival. 6 minutes ETA.
The first night after presentations turned into a sleepless one for 81-year-old product designer Bob Lockhart, who had to make an unexpected trip to the hospital.
Bob!
Hi! Hi!
Good to
hi,
see
hi.
you.
What a surprise.
Glad to see you. You look great.
I'm feeling so much better.
Bob unknowingly had infections in both legs in the weeks leading up to the competition. Luckily, doctors were able to diagnose and treat him before the condition worsened. Unfortunately, with Bob's hospitalization and temporary immobility, the judges made the tough decision that he would be the first designer to miss the cut, and soon to be joined by 6 others.
Welcome back, designers.
Hello.
How are you all today?
Doing
Good.
well.
Good. Well, as I told you all before, Wilson invited 14 designs to Chicago, but only 7 of those will advance to the next round. Because JR awarded a W to Tim Slama, that means the rest of you are competing for the remaining 6 places. Tim?
Designers, this is a tough competition. Tonight, some of you are going to leave disappointed with the results. That being said, the judges got together last night and we each identified our personal favorite designs. We are going to advance those designs to the next round right now.
Alan, your design from the off just blew my head off. I thought it was a phenomenal design. I love the weight structure, and I think it's possibly the best looking driver yet. It needs to become faster, possibly, in looks and performance, but I think that can be worked on. Alan, your design is through to the next round.
It was like a lift off of my shoulder. I think I could just breathe and think about what I need to do to move on to the final episode.
Evan, having that skeleton structure to be able to work a lot within the driver and give it so many different options on what it should do and what it can be was really impressive. Evan, your design made the cut for the next round. Congratulations.
Oh my God. When JR called my name, I was so excited. I could finally relax and quit thinking about what I wish I would have said. And now it just gives me a sense of confidence moving on into the top 7.
Jeremy, your presentation probably wasn't the best, but there were some interesting ideas in that product. Jeremy, you advance to the next round.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Awesome. Awesome.
The elevator pitch went badly, and so it was great when Tim Clark told me he wanted to advance me to the next round of the competition.
Okay, judges, that leaves 3 more designs. What are their fates?
Jimmy, your idea really sparked a load of interest in my mind. I feel like there's loads more options that can be explored. Definitely one of my favorite designs.
Thank you.
I personally have some concerns about the actual ability to move weight as far as a fade and a draw bias. Most of your modifications are straight down the center line. I'm not sure there's enough there. I think there was a bit more that could have been done.
Pressure was on at that time, especially since the group that I was going up with was actually some of the top people that I personally thought had some incredible drivers.
Jimmy, your design goes on to the next round.
Making Long Beach proud.
Congratulations.
Thank you. When he said my name, I was like, heck yeah, I knew it, Tim. I'm ready to start working on it, meeting the CAD person, going into Wilson Labs. I can't wait to get back and start working again.
Victor and Hank, I thought your driver was really unique, very different, very futuristic, but I'm not sure whether your idea about the wind tunnels and the wind distribution would work with a weaker swinging player.
Oh boy, talk about yet again another roller coaster of dread and fear.
Victor, Hank, I'm sorry you missed the cut.
I was a little disappointed. You put a lot of time and effort into it. You brought a great concept to the table. It's disappointment.
They came up with a good driver. They had some really nice concepts. I've been eliminated myself. I know that feeling. Better luck next time, guys.
Samantha mentioned before, not only in the pitch, but also speaking to the judges, we just feel like the ideas that have gone into the driver have been around before. Not in that way, not done in that style. And there might be something in that, but it's just the fact we've seen those technologies already in existing products. That's a bit of a concern.
It was definitely nerve-wracking. Like the heart started to pump a lot while I was up there. Palms were sweaty.
Samantha, I'm sorry you missed the cut.
I was very surprised when Sam was eliminated. She brought a lot of passion, a love for the game, and I thought her concept was strong, so when she got eliminated, I was very sad to see her go.
Sorry.
She's young, but she really loves the sport and she really loves design. I felt horrible seeing her feeling disappointed.
Designers, thank you very much, and you can return to the room with the rest.
Thanks.
Thanks,
everybody.
No problem, guys.
It was intimidating.
We're out. Oh, didn't make it.
I'm a pre-med student. I'm studying physiology and public health, so I kind of had a disadvantage there, not having the complete technical and engineering skills like some other people do. And I knew that coming into this competition, but my goal was I was hoping I would be able to get to sit down with the Wilson designers and actually help them kind of develop what I was envisioning. Unfortunately, that didn't get to happen.
Just to make it this far and to be here and to have your opportunity to present an idea or concept to somebody, to some of the best in the industry and some what you feel are experts in the field, just to get here, it's an incredible experience. Incredible.
The first half of elimination is now complete. 4 of our designers join Tim Slama and earn a spot in the final 7, advancing to the next stage of the competition. With only 2 more spots up for grabs, the pressure is on for the 6 remaining teams who approach the stage and await the judges' final decisions.
Designers, as you can imagine, this is hard for us. There are 5 designs that we've already put through and room for only 2 others. Among your 6 designs, there are things we like a lot and some things maybe not so much. After talking it through last night with our Wilson engineers, we think some of your designs might be better if you combine them with each other.
When they threw the plot twist at us, caught us all off guard.
It got serious real quick.
The first thing we need to stress is that you don't have to combine. If you're confident with your idea and want to stand on your own, that's fine. The Wilson engineers feel a couple of your designs might actually advance on their own merits. But for some of you, the chance to advance will increase a great deal if you do join forces.
That took us by surprise.
That's a lot of pressure.